Hello lovelies, so because I've only got 2 more books to wrap up the end of August's reading month, I thought I'd tag on a little bit of a September TBR. I don't super often make it a point to do like a dedicated monthly TBR, but it is my birth month and I have a lot of books that I would love to read. I've got a little bit of time off here and there throughout the month to celebrate birthdays, as well as a wedding as well, so I've got a couple of days off to get over the celebration of a wedding, and I would love to do some extra reading if and where I can. So before we get into the books that I'm hoping to read during the new month of September, let's crack on with the final 2 books I wrapped up August with. So the first one I am thinking of doing a full-on dedicated review for because I loved it just that much, and it was one that I was kindly gifted by Black Crow PR and talked a little bit about this book during the book tour season, and this is The Executioner's 3 by Susan Dennard. It came out in August on the 26th, I want to say, so it's definitely available now to purchase from all good retailers. I had such a blast reading this, but as I say, I won't go into too much depth because I do want to do a dedicated review. But we are following Freddie in the kind of like 90s going into the Y2K, and she loves solving mysteries. She's obsessed with the X-Files and anything kind of problem solving. She just has that itch as an answer finder and she just needs to get to the bottom of things. Her school has this ultimate rivalry with this posh private school across the way from them, and they're always getting into prank wars. However, one prank war too many causes an actual scene, and from that, I guess, really is where the real trouble starts, because Freddie unearths a cursed poem of sorts that seems to be happening in real life, and as murders are taken the small town by shock and horror and surprise, she feels like she needs to be the one to get to the bottom of this and stop anything else from happening and devastating the town. This one was a 5 out of 5 star read for me, and hopefully I can divulge that a little bit more when I come to do a separate video. Do apologise for the quality of my voice. I feel like I'm in and out of a cold. It's like not fully formed and then it does, and then I can't sleep and then I feel fine, and it's been like that for about 4 days, so I think it's like ebbing and flowing. I'm just riding it out at this point, hoping it clears up soon. So the next book that I want to talk about before we get on to the TBR portion of this video was unfortunately a DNF, and honestly that was completely my bad, and you will realise that as we get into it. So this was called Psychotherapy and the Highly Sensitive Person by Elaine N. Aron, and I ended up DNFing this around 13% of the way through. I was listening to it on audiobook, and I kind of just wanted something that was interesting, informative, factual and educational, but that I could easily kind of fall asleep to. Do you know what I mean? Something that's a little bit info dumpy, info heavy, that I could obtain and hopefully soak in and absorb as I'm falling to sleep, but that would also be gentle enough for me to just drift, you know, like a lecture, shall we say. We all know that. So it's basically a guide for reflective practitioners seeking tools for clients, and it also aims to dispel common misconceptions between sensitive people and other personality traits such as shyness, for example. And yeah, I definitely didn't read this blurb before going into it because I thought it would be more for the client, the patient, the individual themselves, as like not necessarily a how-to guide, but a little bit more of like an inner workings kind of manual. I guess like a how-to guide, right? I quickly learned from all the medical jargon and just the clinical language and delivery of it that it wasn't that. And although I did get some good sleep from it, and I did feel like I learned a little bit more about myself, I knew I wasn't going to get an awful lot out of it, so I didn't want to do like much of a disservice by rating it poorly, knowing that I wasn't going to be the right candidate for this sort of book. So I thought, let's just DNF it at 30% and move on with my day. That being said, let's move on to the TBR. I think I will start with the books that I'm in the middle of reading. So the main one being, and I feel like I've been on this for a while now, the final stretch, the last couple of percentages of A Murder of Secrets and Lies by Deja Colleen. I've been reading this for ages. I thought I was going to wrap it up in August. I did not. my bad. I don't know, I'm reading it mainly on my phone, and I've been desiring audiobooks and physical books of late. Maybe that's the change, the chop and change that I've been feeling, and I've just not been gravitating towards it. I did do a massive chunk though throughout the month, so I'm so happy and proud about that, because I was stuck on like 47% for the longest time, maybe even 30 something percent, and I managed to get to like 91%, 92%. So really happy with the progress on that, hoping to polish that off very shortly. Fingers crossed. I'm also in the middle, or near the end actually, and I thought I was going to finish this one too, but I also just wanted to jump on and do this video, so I might even finish it tonight, who's to say. The Nether King by Nikki St. Crow, and I am really enjoying this. I started this a couple of days ago and I have been devouring it. It is a dark Peter Pan retelling, utilising the characters, but they're all grown adult characters, and it's set in a world where the darling women always get taken away on like a significant birthday. I think it's on their 18th birthday, and they get whisked away to Neverland, but it's not like the magic fantasy beauty of a new world. No, they're being kidnapped because Peter Pan thinks they have something that he needs to restore Neverland back to its good graces and to restore his power, really. Everyone is broody and cruel and evil. There's some intense scenes and there's intercourse from page one, so it is a dark romance. It's dark and it's explicit, so if you like that sort of thing, give it a go. I think there's at least one more book after this, I'm gonna say. I'm not too sure, but I'm enjoying it so far. I'm also in the middle of Macbeth by Shakespeare. I am about 1/3 of the way in. I'm currently listening to an audiobook alongside this too, just because I kind of knew I would probably struggle a little bit with the language. So having that kind of on and doing that immersive blended reading is really kind of helpful for me to soak in the words and the intention behind the scenes that wouldn't necessarily have made sense for me if I wasn't studying it, or if I didn't have like actual auditory understanding, if that makes sense. So yeah, giving this one a go. I'm sure I've studied it partially in school at some point, but I definitely didn't do an exam or anything about it. Okay, so on to the brand new books that I actually want to start and get read during September. So I have Jelly Bean by Eve Ainsworth, and I picked this one up because I recognise the illustrator. It's Theo Parrish, who I recently read their autobiography called Homebody and really enjoyed it, and I love the art style that they use. So this one follows Ellie, who wakes up one day and can't face going to school. Her parents think there must be a reason. Is she being bullied, or is the schoolwork too hard? But neither of these things are the problem, and Ellie finds it impossible to explain how she feels. As the days of absence turns into weeks and then months, Ellie's parents support her through this difficult time, but when can she find a way to go back? And underneath, in like the little kind of like what hotkey books, and they have like the themes around it, this has something similar. So it's got like different colours associating to like the themes, so it's about school anxiety and understanding, and yeah, I feel like we've all been there. It's also the type of books we get in for dyslexia friendly. It's printed on like this type of yellow page. The font is a different type of font than your standard issued book, and I think it's supposed to just be a bit less intimidating to get through. So I'm looking forward to giving this one a go. I also finally at last want to read Children of the Night, which is the second book to Young Gothic by M.A. Bennett. I read a little bit and I've not completed it actually. I did a vlog a couple of videos ago where I was going through some of my 2024 Yauk samples and kind of deciding whether I wanted to continue on with the book at a later stage or even immediately, or just rule out that it wasn't for me. And one of the ones that I read or partially read was Children of the Night, and I've still got my bookmark in the sample. I think it's because I know I'm going to really enjoy it and I just keep putting it off because I loved the first book so much, and I don't know, it's just this weird feeling that I have. I don't want to ruin the excitement, but I think I'm still going to have the same feelings for the second one. It's great. I feel like I've spoken a lot about this series or this duology a lot on my channel, so I'm just gonna breeze past that a little bit. Next up, a book that I would love to read that recently came into my collection, again courtesy from the lovely Black Crow PR. This is The Great Library of Tomorrow by Rosalia Aguilar Solis, and this is in collaboration with the music festival Tomorrowland, which sounds so cool. It's going to be a trilogy. The trilogy is called the Book of Wisdom trilogy. It's set in a magical world with portal magic. We're following Helia, who has served as the Sage of Hope for the Great Library of Tomorrow for centuries. She is one of the chosen few who embody and protect the values of humanity across the numerous realms of Paperworld, which are connected within the library itself via magic portals controlled by the Book of Wisdom. Her hope is tested when she and her partner Xavier, the Sage of Truth, are attacked while visiting the famous rose garden in the realm of Silvra. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing the magic of Tomorrowland bestowed into a book. I would love to go to the festival one day. Probably never going to happen, but it just looks so cool. So yeah, hoping to get to this one soon. Book one, being The Great Library of Tomorrow, is already available in hardback, audio and ebook, but the paperback is coming out on the 2nd of September, and the hardbook, audio and ebook of book two is coming out on the 18th of November, so it'll be nice that you can kind of read them relatively back to back. I also wanted to check out some manga. I haven't read this series before or watched the anime, but it's Jura Jura. I got these like charity shopping, I think, or something like that. I've got volumes 1 and 2 to give a go and see if I'm interested, if I like it or not. I might continue on with the series if I find them in charity shops, or I might just like convert over to the anime and continue the storyline that way. This is apparently about a boy who daydreams about the extraordinary, a naive stalker girl, the strongest man in Ikebukuro, a shut-in doctor with questionable credentials, a hedonistic informant, and the headless rider astride a pitch-black motorcycle. It just seems really strange. As their paths cross, the eccentric cast weaves a twisted, cracked love story. Yeah, so I'm gonna give that a go. To finally get to A Cruel Thirst by Angela Montoya. This is one that I've been wanting to read since it came out. I've also got the audiobook version of it through the library, and I think I've reached my like max amount of renewals and I've still not listened to it, so I need to do that so someone else can borrow it, because that's not fair. So this is a vampire story. It's following two POVs. We've got Carolina, who wants to join the family in hunting the vampires that plague her village, and then we've got Lalo, who was content leading a perfectly dull life until a vampiro turned him. They obviously meet, and that will be what it be, but it says, can her fists and his fangs stay focused long enough to triumph over their common enemy, or will their hatred for one another get in the way? It sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to finally diving into this, because every time I go past it on my shelf, I'm like, I will get to you momentarily. Okay, second to last book I'd like to read in September is The Baby Dragon Cafe by A.T. Qureshi. This one just looks absolutely wholesome and adorable, and we're getting into more autumnal months now, and I feel like this just screams autumn to me. It looks so quaint and cozy, and I think it is supposed to be like a cute romance. It says, welcome to the cutest and the most complicated cafe in town. When Saphira opens her cafe for customers with pet baby dragons, she isn't expecting it to be quite so hard to keep the fires burning, but her young dragon patrons keep incinerating the furniture, which means selling coffee isn't covering her costs. Of course, she meets the local heartthrob Aiden, who is a gardener, though his disobedient baby dragon is a major distraction from his beloved plant. He sees that Saphira's cafe is struggling, and he comes up with the idea that maybe to get a little extra money, he can hire her to train his dragon. No, they're the answer to each other's problems, but happy-go-lucky Saphira and gorgeous but grumpy Aiden couldn't be more different. Can they find a way to work together and maybe even ignite some fire of their own? You light my fire. Your heart is my only desire. Is all that was playing in my head whilst I was reading that. So, love to get to that one. And lastly, another book that was kindly sent to me by Black Crow PR. This one comes out in November, so trying to get ahead of the game. This is Danielle Knight's A Rather Vengeful Accord, and it sounds so good. It's another kind of enemies to lovers. I'm imagining romance, romantasy, fantasy, and it's between a necromancer and a like warrior, like a fighter. Yeah, a gladiatorial combat, and it's got eldritch monsters. It's like a university setting where they're studying each of these kind of arts, but they need each other in order to get into the university in the first place, so they have to rely on each other. They've already got like hatred brewing among them, but they need the other one to get to where they need to get to, and it sounds like so much fun, so much yearning. And I just love the concept of gladiators and necromancers. Like, what an odd combination. That sounds like such a thrill. But yeah, this comes out in November, so keep your eyes peeled. Hopefully I'll get some thoughts out before it drops. So here we have it, folks, the 11 books, including the ebook that I mentioned earlier, that I want to either finish or start and finish during September. Let me know if you've read any of these, or if you have some of the arcs as anticipated reads. I would love to know. But yes, for now, let me know what you've been reading, what you've been enjoying, what you'd recommend, and I shall catch you in another video soon. Bye.